what happens often in podcasting is, if you look at your analytics, you'll probably see it, is that it'll start off strong and then you'll see people just dropping off, right? Your retention is not very good. And when that happens, one of the best things that you can look at is, can I position this in a stronger way with that first 60 seconds? For your hook or your first part of your positioning, you can do, here's the pain. Man, there's a P too, Dustin. I didn't even think about that. There's the pain and there's the promise, right? Oh, it's so good. So here's the pain and here's the promise. So if you are still watching this episode, it probably started off with something like, most podcasts fail, not because your content is bad, but because your strategy is broken. So that's the pain, right? That's the pain you're feeling. So the promise is, today I'm giving you the 4 pillars of podcasting. So today I'm giving you the 4 pillars of podcasting that will make your podcast finally generate real business results. Boom. Pain, promise, dive into the episode.
Ultimately, just get to the point. Give away the full strategy up front. Really, like in the first, I would say, minute or 2 of this podcast, like, we really need to just tell you, these are the 4 P's. These are the 4 pillars, and we're gonna break them down for you. Right. So, hey, if you need to hear an explanation, you'll stick around. It's like to give away the strategy stuff for free, because ultimately, as a coach or a consultant, it's not that people aren't buying your strategy. They're buying your help with implementing that strategy.
I love that idea, Dustin, because it's a very small portion of the podcast, right? It's this beginning little element. It can seem, you can easily just go, it's not that important. But ultimately, this is the thing that just hooks them in and draws them across, so that they get to you unpacking that piece and walking them through it. And that's where the gold is, right? Yeah.
By you giving the strategy away in the first 60 seconds, guess what you have? You have micro content.
Boom.
You have a short or a reel or a clip that immediately says, this is my strategy.
And isn't that a great way of looking at it too, Dustin? Is basically what you just said there is, we've spent a lot of time trying to craft and curate these short form pieces of content over time, right? Yeah. Some of us have gotten really good at that, in these 60-second sound bites of hitting them with some good information. So what does that look like to take that skill that you've generated over the last few years, and now that becomes your first part of whatever the episode is? Logo bump hits, you're into the episode now, where you're kind of walking them through that, you're unpacking that whole piece, and you're leading them through into a deeper conversation, ultimately building trust with them, because you're like, man, this guy really knows his stuff. He knows how to break this down. He knows how to put it together. And that's so, so beautiful. So you got the purpose, you got the packaging, you got the positioning, and now we're going to talk about the pitch. Something that I know a lot of us struggle with, even those of us that are building businesses and trying to get people to engage with us, is that what we do is we do not give enough calls to action. We don't, or if we do, it's very confusing on where it is and what we're doing and which link to click and where are we going and how's this going to be put together. We make it very, very confusing. And so ultimately, your 4th pillar to make this thing work is the pitch. Clear, concise, simple calls to action that will allow people to ultimately do business with you. Because that is the one thing that we always say around here, is that your podcast is not to be, the 1% of 1%, right? It's really to craft and build an audience that is your target ideal client. And then in that, you sponsor your product, your service, the thing that you do sponsors your podcast, right? And that becomes the calls to action that you are driving them to. So somebody might be listening to your podcast and consuming your good free content and using that in their own business, but ultimately you're inviting them into a way of working with you. there's a time that in the middle of the podcast that, hey, just want to interrupt this conversation real quick to tell you about XYZ, right? And inviting them into deeper levels of engagement with you. And so when you get your pitch right and you can drive people to the thing that you do, now all of a sudden your podcast becomes a business generating thing for you. And maybe you have 150 views on your episode, but ultimately you have clients coming in the door, booking calls with you and doing business with you because of the work of your podcast.
A lot of people are like, well, I don't really know what to pitch, or we're uncomfortable with the pitch. Number one, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it, right? Hey,
Yep.
it's easy. Go to dustinp.com, click on the let's chat button and hop on my calendar.
Yep.
Boom. That's it. Right. But people will often, like, how many times have you seen, hey, I see the end result of the recipe. I see the end result of the meal. You've given me the recipe to follow, but ultimately I would really just love it if you cooked it for me.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? So that's where the pitch comes in, is like, hey, we've talked about the strategy. We talked about the implementation. If you would like help implementing this yourself.
Yeah.
That's the pitch for every podcast that has that we're trying to get our listeners to, if it's beyond entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Even the entertainment ones, we're like, hey, we want you to like and subscribe. You may be listening to this and go, you know what? You're right. This is what we need to be doing, but I don't have the time or the energy or the capability or the mental capacity to take this on. I need someone to help me do this. That's when you go, great. Well, I'm going to reach out to Darren at 1898 and he's going to do our video content for us. Great. I'm going to reach out to Dustin at Chief Creative and they're going to help us implement these strategies of processes and systems in our agency. Boom, 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 boom. Like, it's an easy, you've given them the whole thing, but that's why meal kits are still so popular.
Yeah,
right.
So true.
Right. People were like,
So
hey,
true.
I understand that this meat and potato recipe would probably be really tasty, but I don't even have the brain power to figure out how. You know, what'd be great is if I could just pay you to mail me those ingredients.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I don't even have to go out and get them. Yeah. You know this to be true. You, Darren, me, every listener, watcher of this episode knows it to be true, that if it's a big enough problem that we want to solve, we are willing to throw money at it in order to solve it.
100%.
And there's nothing shameful about that.
No.
Right. We're buying back our time with our money in every transaction that we make. Right. We see it every single day in our life. Yeah. It's no different here. So don't think about the pitch as being this, like, I gotcha moment. Right. No. It's not a gotcha moment. It's just an offer.
Yep. 100%. It's an invitation into something deeper. And in podcast production and management and all of that is what we do here at 1898. And so if you would be interested in having somebody do that for you, just head on over to 1898.com, reach out to us. We will make sure that you get your podcast taken care of. I just did it. Right. That's the example of that. But in that, there is one piece of caution that I want to make sure that we're aware of, is that if we are a small growing podcast and the first thing we try to do is sell, it's a little bit of a turnoff. So what I typically say is, how can you get a little bit of trust built up before you position anything? And I think the first way is how Dustin was saying it. Just simply dropping it in the conversations. The second way is, don't put your ad read at the beginning. Put it in the middle. Put it a little bit further into the conversation or towards the end, right? And then make sure that your links are clean and clear and very understandable in the description or the show notes or wherever you're putting that. If you do those things, simple and easy, just putting it there in front of people, it can be a game changer for you with people engaging with your calls to action. And so that's something to consider as well. And then, the ad read side of things, just in the middle, interrupt that conversation, offer them into, or invite them into a deeper conversation or a deeper engagement with you, and then jump back into the conversation. And it's as simple as that. But I'm telling you, when you put these 4 pillars of podcasting together, it will drive business growth for you. And let's just revisit them, Dustin. Let's walk through them again just to be safe. The purpose, the packaging, the positioning, and the pitch. The purpose, the packaging, the position, and the pitch. Those are your 4 Ps of podcast perfection. Yes. That's it.